Hello, class. So I think the next component I'm going to work on for this house is actually the roof, and that's because I like to work on my roofs fairly early before much detail because I think it really can be a defining element for a house. So it is the way I tend to work, but you might have different preferences. Of course, for teaching, it's going to allow me to show a few different kinds of tricks. Ultimately, for this main roof, we're just going to do the same things we did before. We're going to draw a rectangle, we're going to push and pull. That's most of what SketchUp is, especially in the design phase. So I'm going to come here and come back to my line tool. And since my current objects are already groups, I'm just going to retrace over the primary rectangle that is the roof in this case. So I get this shape. You can see it's sort of, I get the white gray, light gray, darker gray look because they're coplanar just for now. That's how I know that. So there's a new plane there. I'll just go to push pull, and now I'm going to come up here and push pull this. Now it knows since it's on an angle, it needs to push it on an angle. So that's great. So I'm going to come up to approximately what I think a thickness of the roof slab might look like, and I'm going to call it this. And then now I've got a bunch of other little rectangles I can come along and just push pull these all to the places I want them to be. So for example, I know I want a nice long deck off the front of the roof here, so push pull to what you think might look good. Again, you can always, I think it should be a little longer, so I could come back and pull it out a little bit more. You can push yours in the other way as need be. I can come off to this end and pull it up off that side, and that's not quite as long of an overhang, but still a bit of one. And then ultimately I'm going to come to the side and push pull it through the front here. Now in my original design, this piece purposely stuck out further than the roof edge, and I'll have to fix that up in a later step, but just have it stick out a little bit there. And again, since I'm just designing, I really am just eyeballing. Now again, are there times in SketchUp where you want to be precise and use real distances? Certainly, but not necessarily during the sketching design phase. So I'm just going to eyeball that those two lengths are the same and say, look at that, looks pretty good to me for that main shed roof. And this house is really coming together now. It's starting to come together as a design. Feel free to go and make any changes along the way as you need to. Now, since this roof plane is done, I am going to go ahead, select my arrow, triple click over, right click, and make it a group. Always like to make groups as I come along. And I have to come now, I need to put a slight shed roof on this thing. Now, right now this object, I could have done a few different things here to potentially make this easier to make. Um, I'm going to have to use different tricks than that, but that's okay. I just sort of can show different techniques of making this work. Actually, you know what I think I'm going to do? I'm just solving the problem in my head. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with a rectangle. I'm going to come and hold this arrow here to get rectangle. And I'm just going to just do this part of the roof. I'm not going to worry about this point just yet. We'll get there in another step. So I've got basically just a plane like I did when I started with this roof. And I'm going to do the same thing. We're going to approximately eyeball, push, pull it up so it's the same height as this guy. Make any adjustments as needed. And now to get this angled, since it's flat and I want to get it angled, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here. I'm going to sort of triple click on this guy to select it all. I could make a group now, and maybe I'll just do that. I'll go make it a group so I can work with it. I'm going to go to my rotate tool, which is right here. And I'm going to select probably the front face corner here. I want to make sure I get the red plane because the red plane means it's going to rotate it in the right direction. Blue means it's going to be like around as if I'm looking up, and green will be the other way. You'll get the hang of it. So I want to make sure I get red. If you're having difficulty finding the red, just push the right arrow on your keyboard. I'm going to click there. I'm going to come back to the roof edge and click, and then I'm just going to pull up. Again, you can type in an angle or just, eyeball it, whatever you think would be a good angle height. And we see I've got this roof angled in that direction. Now what I can do is I can double click this group to enter it, and I can start making some adjustments. So I know it wants to overhang on this side a bit, so I'm just going to push pull it that way. Not too much, just a little bit. And the same thing this way. I want it to overhang a little bit on the front edge. Just eyeball it up, and I know it wants to overhang a little bit along that edge as well. So there we go. I got the start of my roof. Now the thing is, I need to get the roof all the way over here. What I can do is I can see there's a line consistent between the shape of my original house and this roof. All I need to do is go to my pencil tool, strike a line across this face, and it's made this a surface, which I can push pull straight over. just like that. And again, just eyeball it up, hang it a little bit past that roof. Okay, something like that. And there we go. Now I've got this roof. Of course, what I can go back now, I just clicked out to end the group edit because what I need to do is I need to edit this surface here. So let's see the different ways we could do that. I'm going to double click back in this object to get it active again. And what's going to happen is you're going to see if let me show you, you don't necessarily need to do this because this is going to break down, you'll see. But if I came here and select this line and went to move, pushed up arrow, actually that is going to work. Oh, I didn't think it was going to work. So do that. So rewind, watch that step. You get this angle here. The problem is it's not going to do this edge here, but I can actually, if I'm very careful, I can go to my arrow tool and I can sort of sneak in to SketchUp and just get that back line right across there. I can once again go to move, click any corner, hit up on my keyboard to force it to blue, and then move that up so it touches that object. There we go. Now that form is done very well. I thought, as I end this video, in the next video, I'll move on to some more detail of this house, but the main form and the roof, that's a good place to go. I thought what I was going to have to do on this guy is actually intersect with model, which is a great trick, which I don't always use at this phase of rendering, but it's a great SketchUp tool to take complex angles and make them work together. So look, if you need that issue, look that up. It's worth knowing. But yeah, certainly not a beginning issue, but I did want to mention that at the end of this video. So we'll end this video here and we'll see you in the next video for the next steps.